Good communication. Now this is something that we all tend to take for granted from time to time. Providing you have a good environment, it's usually very easy to communicate your message. As we know, when you put on a helmet, good communication is one of the first things to go. It simply makes it a lot more difficult to communicate your message. And that's even before we add the distractions from the wind noise and the vehicle traffic. So let's take a look at one of the solutions that KENWOOD has for this communication problem. That comes in the way of the KCA-HX7C and the KCA-HX5M. Today we're going to take a look at what comes included with these two new products, and I'll show you exactly how to set up and install one on this helmet. So let's get into it. Before we open the box and dive into the installation and setup on this helmet, we need to identify the differences between these two helmet-mounted communication devices. And we'll go ahead and start with the KCA-HX7C. Now the C stands for camera, because this includes an ultra high definition camera to capture the adventure, as well as offers you a 4-rider connected network over Bluetooth. Now let's move to the KCA-HX5M. M actually stands for mesh network, and this allows you not only a 16-rider private mesh network, but an unlimited rider network for up to a 1.2 mile radius. It also includes a Bluetooth network connection, so you can use it with your buddies with the KCA-HX7C. As long as they're using a mesh network style connection, you can also connect to any other devices that are available on the market. Both of these receivers offer you a connection to your smartphone, so you can utilize things like turn-by-turn route guidance, and you can stream your favorite music. So let's get into exactly what comes in the box and how to set one of these up. Now before we begin the installation, let's go over a few key points that are important to know before you install this system. One is, just like your head, our helmets are not all the same. They come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, so there's going to be a few options that you need to select before you begin. To make the installation more flexible, we've included multiple different foam spacers and protective foam coverings for the speakers that you mount inside the helmet. This will allow you to fine-tune the installation once you've installed all the components and wore the helmet around. You can adjust for different comfort levels by adding or taking away the foam padding. Second is the two included microphones. Now they give you two different options for a couple reasons. The boom microphone allows you to mount on an open face helmet, that way you can adjust the position of the microphone for the best audio pickup. Or if you prefer a sleeker installation, we have the fixed mounted microphone that you can tuck away in just about any type of helmet, and the system also includes two different installation mounts. One offers you a 3M adhesive in a fixed position mounting. This works well for helmets that may be too thick for the adjustable mounting clamp style attachment. Now this attachment also gives you the ability to rotate the camera 360 degrees. This mount will set the camera up in a fixed position. And the last thing to point out is that the receiver will only work on the left side of the helmet. That's because in most cases, our throttle hand is our right hand, and that allows our left hand to be free to make adjustments while we're riding. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the installation. Now in this particular installation, I'm choosing to use the low profile microphone and the 360 degree swivel mount. The first thing that we need to do is remove the liner from the inside of the helmet. You may find it easier to completely remove all the liners, which is what I'm going to do in this case. That gives me full access to the helmet, so it makes it easy to run my wires. I'm going to remove that liner and put it to the side. So now inside the helmet, we can see clearly what's going on. We have the head liner removed and the liner tucked in the back side. And when we place the speaker inside the helmet, there's a slight clearing behind the strap and underneath the liner. So you'll see a good spot to put the speaker somewhere in here. Now before we install our speakers in the helmet, it's critical to figure out the best location to line up with your eardrums. So what we need to do is put the helmet on while the liner is removed, and this gives us space to use our fingers to locate where the best location will line up with our ear canals. For For this, I'm going to use a simple black magic marker to mark the location after I remove the helmet. Now you put the helmet on, and using your thumbs, you use that to find the best location to line up with your ears. So let's try it out. Now wiggle the helmet around and move your straps into position. And then you can use your thumbs to literally line up your ears with the side of the helmet. Now take the helmet off, and then you'll notice the best location and where it lines up. Mark it. Double check your fitment with the opposite side. All right, so now we've marked the helmet for the best location for the speakers. We can simply peel the backing and then place the adhesive pads. Line up with your marks. Apply plenty of pressure to a clean prepped surface, and there you go. We have one of our pads installed, as you can see here. We just repeat the process on the opposite side. So now that we have both of our pads installed, we can move to installing the speakers and routing the wires. You can at this point also choose to use your foam pads to move the speakers closer to your ears, which is what I'm going to do in this installation. So simply line these up over the top of the pad and push them in place. Okay, now that that's complete, we can go ahead and install the speakers. Now keep in mind that the right side has a longer wire to be able to reach from one side to the other, and the left side is shorter because it's closer to the receiver. So we have our left side speaker going in the helmet now, and we have our right side speaker going in the helmet. And I make sure the wire is pointed towards the back of the helmet to keep it out of the way. You can unsnap the liners and tuck the wires inside the helmet. Now once you've ran your wires, it's easier to snap the liners back in place to keep everything tidy and out of your way. As you see there, all my wires are tucked and ready to be attached to the receiver. Now we can move to installing the microphone. So all we need to do now is peel off the backing and attach the Velcro strip. Put the sticker vertically. So that gives me a little bit of adjustment up and down, and I'm going to keep it to the left-hand side to make sure the wire is short and close to the receiver. At this point, we can take our microphone and install it in the helmet, and route the wire back to the same location that you're going to be installing the receiver. Now you see here, the microphone is attached to the helmet. And this is our wire management piece for the microphone. It has a Velcro backing, so you can attach it next to the microphone on the same Velcro back that you just installed. It will help keep the cable in place while you're taking on and off your helmet. So now we can move to attaching the receiver's mount to the helmet. Now again, in this case, I'm using the swivel mount because I want the most adjustments. Simply back off these two screws here, opening up the clamp, and then you want to find the position that's the most flat on your helmet. On this position is probably going to be the best in this general area, but you can move it forward or backward, but it's best to keep it as centered as possible and on the flattest surface of the helmet. Now you want to slip this in between the hard shelled surface and the soft contact inside. Squeeze that in between here, like so. Work it all the way down, and once you've set this in the proper position, you want to take your Allen key and screw it all the way down. Now that we have all the components installed on the helmet, we can start reattaching our liners and routing the wires back to the receiver. Before we can finish installing the cheek pads and connect our receiver, we need to make sure we connect the microphone. So inside the speaker harness, find this 2-pin connector, push these two together with the matching arrows, and then tuck them inside the liner, stuffing any of the extra wire underneath the helmet liner. Now the finished installation should look something like this. You have your speakers installed on the inside with your microphone down at the front, and we have our wires hanging loose here next to our mounting bracket. Before you attach the receiver, start by attaching the connector. Lock it in place with the flip lock tab, and then slide the receiver onto the mount. There you go. We haven't installed a KCA-HX7C on our helmet. Now that you have your KENWOOD Motorsport camera system installed on your helmet, you can go out and enjoy some clear communication. And as a bonus, I'll show you some footage captured on the KCA-HX7C.
So even with all the wind noise, and of course there's not very much traffic, but you can still tell that my voice is loud and clear. So with that being said, let's just enjoy this beautiful view.
Stay tuned for the next video in the series where we show you how to set up the app and use some of its features. Thanks for watching.
KENWOOD.